Hey guys, welcome back to News to the Science, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And I wanted to discuss the concept art that was just shared by Marvel's Andy Park. He shared the new Scarlet Witch concept art that got everybody to just check it out and just, comment on it and everything. Overall, I just want to say before I get started in this video that I love the new Scarlet Witch costume. We finally got a somewhat of a comic book accurate costume from the comics. If you ever read any Scarlet Witch and Vision comic book or any Avengers comic book, you would see that Wanda is sporting kind of like a Halloween costume-esque kind of looking costume in the comics, where it doesn't seem like it would be battle ready in a reality setting, like a real world setting. And it's just one of the things that I have that's a mixed feeling about when it comes to realizing a comic book character into real life. Most of the times they tend to not be comic book accurate, which is understandable to a degree when you put them in a real world setting, because if anybody were to let's say see Wolverine sport the yellow spandex in real life, he kind of look a little goofy and silly, and people would be like, are you you're just some asshole in a costume just running around in a Halloween costume, and they're not going to take him serious. But if you were to say, let's say, put Wanda in a setting where she's in battle and she was wearing that Halloween costume that we saw from that Halloween episode of WandaVision, people wouldn't really take her too seriously. She would look kind of ridiculous. But we finally got a version that's respectable but honoring the comic books, and I really like the final design. I never actually did a video talking about my thoughts of the costume. I only acknowledged it, saying she's sporting the comic book costume. While it's not exactly 100% accurate, it still respects it, from the crown to the color to the look and the aesthetic of it. So I'm glad with the final design, and Andy Park shared some of that concept art on his Instagram page. But before we discuss further, let's go ahead and click on like, subscribe, and click on bell notifications so you don't miss anything. I do videos on a daily, and I do live streams once in a while, so be sure to do that so you don't miss anything. I talk about Marvel, DC, comic books, Godzilla. I haven't been doing too much of Godzilla, but I will be doing more of that soon. Godzilla is coming up, so I'm pretty excited for that. And just click and just come check out my videos every day. Again, I post videos on a daily. And lastly, join my Discord, where you can find the invitation down in the description box below. We engage in conversations about comic books, movies, of course, upcoming Marvel movies, DC movies, you name it. I even have the channels for that, memes, anime, movies, rants. You can even promote yourself on my Discord if you do YouTube as well. So please be sure to join my YouTube channel by subscribing. Once again, we're only about 3 subscribers away from 1,500. I know it would say 1.5K or 1.49K. That's only because I'm at 1497 technically. But YouTube likes to round up their subscribers, and if you're, they round it up by 10. So if you're close to 1,500 like me, it would say 1.5K. So please, we're only 3 subscribers away. Let's get to 1,500 and then 2,000 in the long term. So without that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the article that I found here on Superhero Hype. It took 6 years, 4 movies, and a full season of a TV show. Regardless, the MCU finally acknowledged Wanda Maximoff as the Scarlet Witch in the last episodes of WandaVision, and now that she goes by her proper superhero name, it only makes sense that she celebrates the occasion with a wardrobe upgrade. Fans have been heaping praise on Wanda's comic book accurate costume ever since it showed up in the WandaVision finale. Now, the man responsible giving viewers a closer look at the design process. Marvel Studios Director of Visual Development, Andy Park, shared concept art for Wanda's new Vision look on his official Instagram account. Park has been conceptualizing Wanda's outfits since her first appearance in Avengers Age of Ultron, but according to him, it was a dream come true to come up with something that adhered more closely to their comic book roots. Park also praised the work of costume designer Mayaz Rubio and her team for making the suit a reality. You can read what else he had to say down below. So here's the concept art right here. It's somewhat, if not extremely close to what we finally got on screen, but it looks a lot more red than what we got on screen. Whereas in the actual show, maybe it could be just the lighting or something, but it looks more like a purple red hue. But whatever, regardless, it does pay respects to the comic book version that we got in the comics, with the exception of showing any cleavage. I mean, I think it's a minor complaint that Elizabeth Olsen had in the movies, whereas every single iteration of her costume showed a bit of cleavage, and she was the only one that, said that, like, oh yeah, she was the only one that had cleavage, whereas every other character didn't show any. So I don't know if that was like a design choice based on like maybe Joss Whedon's direction or something, like, or whatever that may be, but like every version that we've got showed that. But now I think we probably, Elizabeth Olsen gave her input and told the designer maybe not to show that. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, this is more realistic. This is great in the context of the MCU. This is battle ready, whereas it still pays respects and pays homage to the originals from the comics, where she's still wearing that tiara crown and she's wearing the red, and it looks like a bit of a cloak and a / dress or whatever, but still battle ready. So I like it overall. The final design is just beautiful. It's brilliant. Elizabeth Olsen looks gorgeous as always and as ever in her suit. And here in the description box right here in the Instagram page, it says, "You are the Scarlet Witch." Okay, here it is. The approved concept design I did for the final of WandaVision. If you follow me, you know what I've done a lot of designs of her through the years in the past MCU films. Those were fun, but none of that compared to working on this. I was finally given permission to go full-on Scarlet Witch comic book costume and do a crown. Yay, what a dream. And then seeing the crown come alive by our 3D maestro and Adam Ross, and then the mastery of the costume designer Mayes Robeo and Ironhead Studio making the suit a reality was nothing but pure pleasure. And Elizabeth Olsen, what a star. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the great VFX work done by VFX supervisor Tara DeMarco and our crew of VFX artisans. And lastly, of course, our fearless and amazing leadership and director Matt Shakeman and head writer Jack Schaefer and producer and Moreno Karras, and of course the top leaders of Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige, Lou D'Esposito, and Victoria Alonso. I'm so honored to be a part of this amazing team. Hashtag WandaVision, hashtag Scarlet Witch. You get the rest. This actually wasn't Park's first attempt to design Wanda with her signature headdress. Years ago, he experimented with the versions of her crown that he felt might be able to work in the MCU's real-world setting. These were ultimately jettisoned from like the final studio-approved designs. However, this hasn't stopped Park from giving the fans a look at his sketchbook over the years. In fact, he even shared the one rejected design from Wanda as recently as a few weeks ago. And WandaVision may have only given us a small taste of Wanda's new suit in action, but given the fanfare surrounding its debut, this probably won't be the last we see of it. Fans can look forward to seeing the costume again when Wanda next shows up in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness in 2022. So what do you think of Park's design of Wanda's new costume? You let me know down in the comment section below. Well, it's good to know that at least the costume designers and the concept artists really adhered to the comics, and they were really trying to push for that crown to become a reality in this series. No pun intended, but I gotta say once again, no pun intended, that Elizabeth Olsen looks marvelous in this modern take of the costume. I mean, we've even had modernized versions of comic book costumes in the comics themselves to fit more of like, to make them like less, appear less goofy and less silly and fit in the context within of like the Marvel universe, to have it more battle ready. Like Captain America doesn't look exactly as goofy as he did appear in the first, we first saw him in like the 40s, where his suit of armor, like his suit looks more like combat ready, but it's still paying homage to the classic comic book costumes. So you can say the same thing for every other character that we've seen on screen, like Spider-Man, War Machine, of course, Iron Man, like the characters don't look as goofy as when they first appeared, but MCU, Marvel Studios does pay respects, and they're paying their homage. They're paying homage to the classics, and it's good to see it finally realized after 6 long years. We get to see Scarlet Witch as she should be in the films. So you let me know your thoughts, guys. Comment down below. I mean, if you've ever even read any comic book ever like featuring the Scarlet Witch, you would see why something like that couldn't be realized in on screen, in the big screen, because it's just not battle ready. It's silly. It does look like a Halloween costume. That's one of the reasons why they made Elizabeth Olsen wear that costume. That Halloween episode was just really exciting and awesome overall. And she addressed herself as a Sokovian witch rather than just saying, I'm just the Scarlet Witch from the comic books. I think it'd be a little bit too much on the nose. It wouldn't make sense, and Marvel Comics doesn't exist in the MCU. So just seeing this overall and finally them realizing that this suit can work in some way, it's just awesome. It really makes me happy and full of joy. So you comment down below, guys. Let me know your thoughts about the costume. If there's one thing you can change, what would it be? And with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on bell notifications so you all don't miss anything. And as always, I will see you all in the next comic panel.